If your child is doubting himself or herself, playing small, or melting under pressure, this episode will feel like a deep breath you didn't know you needed. This month's guest, Stella Beckett, a single mum and a creator of diary dolls, walks us through the exact tiny habits she uses to help kids feel braver, more secure, and proud of who they are. I ask Stella to break it down step by step so you know exactly what to say, what to model, and what to do in those everyday moments that matter most. No perfection needed, no long let's talk about your feelings sessions, just small, playful practices that actually stick and help your child grow their confidence from the inside out. So in this episode, you'll learn how Stella turned her own childhood fears into a confidence-building tool for kids, the 5-minute daily habits that strengthen emotional resilience, how to help kids name feelings and feel seen, really seen, and how mums can model confidence even on those tough days. And as always, before we wrap up, I'll ask Stella to share one micro practice a mum or her child can start tonight. Something that takes 2 to 3 minutes, but can set in motion a much bigger shift. So keep your notepads ready. And let's jump in. Hi Stella, thank you for joining us. Let's start with a bit of an icebreaker. A lot of our guests are a little bit nervous. So how about you just tell me what your week's been like?
What has my week been like? It's been quite busy. It has been really busy. I won an amazing award on last weekend for the Woman of the Year on the Gold Coast.
Wow.
So since then, I have had a lot more like queries about product, more contact from different agencies. I'm also looking at going into some little marketplaces and expanding stockers. So my week's been quite busy off the back of that award, which has been absolutely amazing. And yeah, just I think a lot of people are getting a diary doll for their Christmas or their little girl's Christmas present. So I've been busy packing orders, which has been really, really fun.
Fantastic. It sounds like a busy. I think a lot of single mums I've spoken to this week, especially this time of the year, we just kind of just, it's almost like being on a toboggan going breakneck speed down the mountain towards the finish line. And then
Yes.
to, of course, have such an amazing award for you to receive as well. That must feel extremely wonderful and special.
Yeah, it was really, it's surreal, but amazing because it just really gives me that understanding that what I'm doing is so needed and required, and for it to be acknowledged so early in my business journey is just really incredible. It makes me realize that I'm on the right track and in complete alignment with what I want to be doing with my life, which is amazing.
So let's start with your story and how the diary dolls came about. I wanted to ask, what moment did you realize you wanted to change the way children see themselves?
Great question. I don't think it was essentially a moment. It has been an evolution. And I grew up in quite an unstable household. So for me, I had a lot of anxiety, self-worth issues, and I never really felt safe in the world because it wasn't really a safe,
Right.
nurturing, predictable environment at home. So when I became a parent myself, it was a really eye-opening experience for me of the upbringing that I had and of the parenting that I had. So I
Mhm.
knew what not to do. I didn't know what to do. And I wanted to make sure that
Mm.
my son never grew up feeling the way that I felt with those inadequacies and not feeling enough. So at home, we do a lot of vulnerability practices, checking in with each other, reflection. What are you proud of? What do you love about yourself? Asking these really gentle questions, not in a big 1 or 2 hour session, but checking in for a few minutes every day. And I found that it really has helped our connection and it has helped him feel more secure in the outside world. And I see him around other children. He's very confident. And I thought, why can't I do this for other kids? And that is essentially the
Mm.
moment where I thought, There are a lot of, and being a parent myself, there is youth mental health is a crisis that we are in, and we all know that. We all want the best for our kids. We really do. And sometimes it's a matter of we actually don't know what to do. We know that we want them to be happy, but how do we make them happy? And
Mm.
that was really the moment where I thought, let's create something that not only helps the children, but also helps parents. So it's a really good tool for both to sit there and develop confidence in really small micro practices and in a way that is so easy and fun and just comes natural.
Absolutely. Many of us come out starting on this journey knowing what we don't want. We know what we've experienced in our own upbringing that we don't want, but we don't quite know how to go and do the good thing, the right thing, because that's not what we've been shown. And
Mhm.
obviously, putting our mind to what we don't want often brings us what we don't want, which
True.
perpetuates this whole cycle of unhappiness and poor upbringing. Well, not poor, because our parents didn't always know the right way to go either. So I suppose though that's a beautiful start, and especially your conversations with your son. I'm trying to imagine how to bring that into a conversation with my own child, and I think I would struggle. So I'll get your little tips later on.
Mhm.
But what happened next for you in regards to the diary dolls? So you had this upbringing that wasn't quite what you wanted and you wanted better for your children. So how did you go from the idea of that to diary dolls? Did that sort of pop into your mind straight away? Did it unfold over time? How did that come around?
Great question again. Came from essentially through having my own child. I really did dive deep into parenting techniques, child development, secure attachment, parenting, and things like that. And it gave me a lot of insight and education about how children develop and what actually makes them confident and different environments at home versus, what makes confident children versus what makes children with anxiety. So from that, what I learned
Mhm.
is before the age of 7 or up to the age of 7, children are essentially in what we call like their theta brainwave state, where they're really in their imagination, their creativity. They're like sponges and they see the world through a lot of their feeling rather than their logic. And even, between 7 and 10, they're still in there. They're going into a different brainwave state, but they're still got so much downloading that's happening. And it is really in this
Mhm.
phase of their life where a lot of their imprinting or their subconscious belief systems are being developed. So when I thought of how can I help kids develop a strong sense of self, that is where I looked at, well, how do kids learn? They learn through play, imagination, role playing, connecting, and that's really where the idea for the diary dolls came in. It's I know that there's a lot of beautiful kids journals, affirmation cards and things like that that are in the market, but I wanted to enter the child's world. And I did that essentially through creating the doll, and then the doll is their safe space and their companion and someone that they can relate to. And that is where the idea really developed from. So I worked with a manufacturer on how to design a doll and how to actually combine the doll with the book. And here we are today.
Wow. So there was quite a lot of thought and preparation went into this, and a lot of research that you applied from your own life as well as you seeking out. And I know that you were in a corporate world life before this. So
Yes.
have you transitioned completely into creating? Because I think you started in 2024, didn't you?
Yes, yes, I did. I am still transitioning, which is fun as well as full on. But it's possible. I'm doing it
Mm.
and I am learning as fast as I can and as steadily as I can as well. So, yes, I think corporate was I always felt like I didn't belong there. Corporate was it's a real struggle for
Mm.
me. And I for many years, I think even, 10 years ago, I was like, I want to do something else. And I knew that I wanted to create something outside of my corporate job. I just didn't know what. And it took me so long to figure it out. And now that it has, everything is building momentum and going in that direction. So, yeah, it's the transition leap is real, and I didn't throw caution to the wind, or I haven't thrown caution to the wind. I obviously have my own family that I need to bring up and support, so I think that I've done that in the sensible way, but also the hard way as well.
I've spoken to other guests on this podcast where something happens, it almost happens by accident, or potentially just dip your toe into it, but the universe just aligns the whole path for you, and you know that you're on the right path, and it sort of feels like the right thing to do, that you, I want to say, don't mind putting that extra work, or potentially are willing to endure that extra work, and just balance the two before you completely submerge into the new endeavor. I think single moms are amazing in this fact that they are able to juggle so many things.
Mhm.
I wonder, I often use whether it's, we're left juggling everything and everything's sort of in the air. And then when everything settles down, we're kind of like, well, I've still got this extra energy left over because I'm used to juggling all these things now. So what else can I do?
What else
And
can I do?
often then we go, well, how can I give back to society? How can I give back to kids or to other single moms? And we dive into that, don't we?
Yeah, and that was really essentially what happened for me. I just had this moment where, corporate life is great. You get paid well, you got a steady income, but I was thinking, I remember this conversation I had with my 90-year-old self, and I thought, who is the woman that's going to be in that 90-year-old brain? Is she going to look back on her life and say, I wish I gave it a go? Or is she going to be like, you know
Mm,
what? You freaking did it because you tried. And even though you didn't have all of your ducks lined up in a row, you still went for it. And I was like, which one do you want to be? And I think even just having that concept in my mind, I thought, you live once, Stella. And at the end of it all, what do you have to lose? Apart from your time. So it was a
that is
really big
so
moment for me.
powerful.
And it's like, get out of your way. Like you're here once, and we are so debilitated by our fear and the narratives of, we can't do it, I'm too busy, it's too hard. And you know what? Some days it really
Absolutely.
is. But I just keep going back to that old lady. If I'm fortunate enough to make it to that age, then that's the conversation I want to be having with myself. You know what, Stella, you did it, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Mm.
The more I talk to business women, single or not, none of them have got the ducks in a row. Some, like, there's this even got memes around the place going, I don't even know where my ducks are, or they're not ducks, they're doves or whatever, because it is that. I think that's what running a business is. A lot of
Mm.
the time, it's just your sheer will and determination and ability to prioritize besides your children and your family and that. But the next thing going, right, well, instead of going and binging on Netflix tonight, I'm actually going to apply myself and do AYZ to
Mhm.
better our life, better myself, so that when I'm older, I can look back and say, well, I've achieved something. And if it doesn't work out well, at least I can say, I've done this.
I
So,
tried. I gave it a
yeah,
red
I,
hot
I
crack.
love it. That's right. That's
Mm.
right. And so, this concept of the dolls, I find it really intriguing. So, tell me more about them. So, each doll comes with a journal or prompts. Where did the emotional learning piece come from? Like, tell me more about them.
Yes. So I did, again, a lot of study in child development and discovering where their sense of self comes from. And it is actually really simple. It's through consistency, repetition, um, simple practices, and it's a programming, it's a downloading. They're in that phase of their life where everything is being downloaded. So they're going to have toys anyway, because they're at that
Mhm.
time in their life where they are imaginating, they're creating, they're, you know, connecting and exploring the world. So why not have a toy that represents resilience and confidence and is that constant reminder of how to speak well to themselves. And when these practices are repeated daily, or they've always got that constant reminder, it forms these strong positive self beliefs and strong foundations of self worth. So it becomes so embedded and normalized. So the dolls each do have an emotional superpower. So I've got a affirmation doll, I've got a journaling doll, and I am soon to release a gratitude doll. So they all represent different pillars of what self-love and what confidence and resilience is, and they've all got that superpower that children can resonate with and connect with. So they're like these little resilience buddies, and they're teaching
Mhm.
foundations of emotional development that some of us adults need to learn, like we learn as adults, or, we have to unlearn what we learned as children as adults to essentially get that stronger foundation in our emotional being and in our nervous system. So that's really where the learning piece comes in. It's at that beautiful pivotal stage of when children are that young, that they are so impressionable, that I feel that having that doll that represents like you are absolutely amazing just as you are is such a powerful message for them to get at that stage in their life.
That's so very true. I can so relate to that in my own upbringing and the girls around me, and the things that you have to unlearn as an adult, which brought a question to my mind as you were speaking. A lot of the time you reference it as a doll for a child up to 7 years old. Could it be used by potentially older children, or is this specifically for a 7-year-old and you're going to look at maybe doing a teen doll later or something?
Great question. So the dolls they're catered towards the 4 to 10-year-old. So even though all of this is happening in like the under 7 brain or up to 7 brain, they're still actually forming their sense of self well until like after that as well. So they're just in a different brainwave state. So these daily practices being embedded in a habitual, normalized, consistent way is beneficial for, of course, children over the age of 7 as well. It is something that I want to embed in their childhood. So I say that the dolls say 4 to 10 because I feel like that's the age where they're still playing with their dolls. They still want that companion, that comfort in a soft toy. And it's when they're learning how to read and how to write, how to construct sentences. So that is the age where I say ideal for the diary dolls. Do
Sure.
I want to do a teen doll? If the demand's there, then I will definitely look at doing it. I have had some dolls purchased for adults that have got learning disabilities, and being that support
Mhm.
for those beautiful people that are in our planet. And so there is a real space for them in that area as well, which I love. I have a beautiful review on my website from a mum that bought it for her adult daughter who is intellectually disabled, and I was just in tears because that market think it didn't even come into my peripheral that that would be a market that these dolls could be so well placed in.
They will be so well received. It's wonderful that you've been able to reach that audience. So thinking about our audience of mums who, as you know, work solo and feel that emotional load pretty deeply. When they notice that their child is struggling with low self-esteem or anxiety, what are some of the first things do you think that they can do at home? Something that will make a difference.
So there is so much you can do. You're their parent, you're their safe place always. And
Mm.
having children that are going through this is difficult. I think regulating yourself first is pivotal. Children thrive off us and borrow our nervous system. So you sitting there with them and breathing and keeping a calm voice, not being dismissive of the struggling that they're going through, because it is hard for us to take because we can blame
Mm.
ourselves sometimes, but it's not you. Naming the feeling is also really, really powerful. So giving the child that acknowledgement, being like, I can see that you're frustrated, or are you feeling nervous right now? And just giving them that validation loop to be like, hey, I see you. That can really, really help because then they feel understood. They don't feel like they're alone. Another thing is just creating a daily ritual, asking a simple question like, what's one thing that you are proud of you did today? Or what's one thing you like about yourself? Those little micro questions. Sitting with them when you're putting them to bed and reading them a book, asking them a little question like that, and also you leading that. Say, you know what I like about myself. I like that I do this. It's that co-regulation moment that you can have with them, and normalizing those conversations is imperative. Keeping predictable routines. Children thrive off consistency, predictability, knowing what's going on at home, and having that safe environment where they're not second guessing, they're not surprised all the time. Sure, surprise them with fun things,
Mm.
but the home routines should be like clockwork, because that's where they feel the safest, especially if they have anxiety. They need that grounding from their home environment. And modeling your self-kindness yourself. Be kind to yourself. Say, something cool I did today, or really like this about myself, or, I love when I can cook for you guys, and just really being that, embodying that person to you, I think is really important, and modeling that in front of your children.
I love what you've just said completely. And I think there's two ways I kind of wanted to have a go deeper into it. This modeling and talking to yourself. I'm always very much a big advocate, and then at home, I'm big on bringing my child in on how I'm feeling, and if I stuff up, if I raise my voice, or if I make a mistake, to talk through it and say, "Hey, I was meant to do this, but it came out this." So I've gotten really good over the years of picking up the things that I don't want to do, but I've never applied it to the other side, which comes into that gratitude side of things. Yes, we do our gratitude at the end of the day. We count what we're grateful for, but this is gratitude on the fly almost, isn't it? You're talking through the good things that are in your life. I had a I had a decent bringing up. Don't feel did come out quite self-conscious, and I didn't have much self-esteem. I don't attribute it to my parents. I think it was just the way partially my character is. But
And society.
I think I really want to. Yes, yeah, yeah. I'd really like to show that to my daughter. So not used to having these kind of conversations at home. It was just, I'm a parent and I will say you are doing this, and there was no discussion afterwards. So to actually shift our brains around and now model through, it's an amazing concept. I love it, and I really want to embrace it with both hands. But there's a lot of skilling of ourselves there as well, isn't there? Like you
Mhm.
need to first work on yourself a little bit to then be able to bring that across.
Yeah, or you can be working on yourself while you're doing it. You can do it in real time and just say, like, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't even take much time or really much effort. It's just forming the habit of doing it.
And that's the thing, you just hit the nail on the head. It is that habit. I think if you do it once, do it twice, it's going to feel awkward as anything, and you'll probably feel very stupid. But do it 7 times,
Hmm.
10, and before you know it, it'll just roll off the tongue and it'll be very, very natural.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like any new thing.
It is very much so. And I think it discourages us. Sometimes I wonder why these solutions are very simple.
Mm.
They're not easy to do, but they're very simple. And I think we shy away from them and label them not easy because initially when we try to do them, they feel awkward and weird. But if we just apply ourselves and try and get past that weirdness, get comfortable in uncomfortableness, we can make so much difference, not only to our kids, but to ourselves as well. So I think it's great. And thinking back through to what you were saying earlier, combining that play with personal growth, and how that was central to your product design, what did you do to ensure that that doll is playful and meaningful, but without being all therapy-ish? Like, it's not like
Yes.
sit down, write in your journal, and talk about your feelings. Like, how did you merge the two concepts together?
Well, and this is the whole reason why I created diary dolls, because sitting down with your journals or doing your gratitude or your affirmation cards can feel like a structured activity. It can feel like a chore, and it's usually parent led. Like,
Mm.
let's do this. So with the dolls, I wanted to make it playful. So in at the beginning of each journal is a story about the doll and how they discover their own resilient superpower. So, for Affirmation Alice, there's a story there about how she discovers affirmations and how she wants to share the beauty of affirmations with all the other little girls in the world. So it goes into that character, and the child immediately knows about the doll. They've got a story, they've got something that they can relate to. And children learn through stories. They don't they learn through us obviously telling them things, but they learn better through stories, through imagination, through role play. So the narrative gives them, or like the story gives them, this little bestie that they can practice with. So they're doing it together, and that's where it keeps it light. It becomes their little safe space. The doll does have the journal in a backpack, so every day after they've done their affirmations or their journaling, that goes back into the backpack. So it's like this little safe keep space that I know little kids just love. They've always got that little secret place where they like to hide secret notes or put like the rocks that they have gathered from the park or the shells from the beach. Like they love that really like safeness. So that's how I really again went into the child's world rather than into the adult structured world, like let's do this activity today. So again, children learn through play. It's fun. It increases the dopamine, and it's how they absorb their emotional lessons a lot faster. And so when it's fun and not forced, it is so natural. And that's essentially and why the dolls are so imperative. I've had people ask me, are you going to sell the journal separate from the dolls? And I'm like, it gets rid of the whole reason why the doll's there. So essentially, I'm like, no, they come together, and there's a reason they come together, and that is the reason.
That's really well thought through and thought out, and you're absolutely right. We, even as adults, story is what guides us to many decisions. Someone tells you something in a wonderful story, it will either uplift you or bring you down and make a day, or encourage you to buy something or encourage you to get involved in something. Human beings are very much story driven,
Yes.
and that's a very good way to combine that together with the play as well. And then to have that space in there. You're right, because sitting there with my daughter and we do affirmations or something like that, it feels like a chore. It feels like it is a structured thing that mummy told her to do. And this is potentially where I'll come back to what we were saying before. You mentioned talking to your son. How would you bring the conversation up? What little routines did you have, or what little conversation starters did you have to introduce such conversations with him? I think if I set her down and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about your feelings, shut down. Clearly, that's not the way to
Yes.
go.
No, it's true. I think I just have, obviously he's my child. I always just have a way. We always read books together before he goes to sleep, and there's always a conversation that we have before bed. So for me it was natural. Again, because I never had that as a child, I have learnt the art of vulnerability through a lot of persistent work, but it becomes really easy to me. And essentially, you're right. And that's why the dolls are so imperative and pivotal in this business, because instead of you saying, hey, like, let's get your journal out or let's do some affirmations, what the parents can say is, what does Alice have to say to you today? You know, what's journal Jasmine's question? Like, go and get her. She wants to ask you a question. So you are essentially sparking the child's imagination through asking that question. They're like, let's go get her. And generally, always sit on their bed, right? They're not in the bookshelf or in the drawer hidden away. So the dolls are front and center. And I have parents come to me and say a lot of the time they'll just go into the child's room and they're sitting there with the affirmation Alice on the bed, like practicing affirmations. And it's so magical in that it's really that gateway of it's not awkward. And that is why I feel these dolls are so great for parents, because it gets rid of that. It's that icebreaker. It taps into that connection exercise or that connection time, but you're not doing it. The doll's doing it. You know, all you're saying is, let's go get your doll because I want to know what she wants to ask you today. And it makes it really fun. I know, right? And the parents really benefit from it as well. I remember even when I was putting the journal Jasmine together, me and my son would go through a couple of questions. And when I would sit and ask him those questions, I would find out so much about his day. And it was just a really special time and a special moment. And I just absolutely loved and still do love asking him those questions.
You've mentioned before that the confidence isn't just about something children are born with, but it is something that grows with habit.
Mhm.
What habits or small routines have surprised you in their impact on children's emotional resilience?
Ooh, I would honestly say that the thing that has surprised me is the simplicity of the confidence building. And it really does come down to basic
Yeah.
5-minute rituals. There is no secret sauce. There's nothing untapped or really crazy to unlock. It is the consistency, and that is what surprised me most about how children do form confidence. It is really so simple. Having that reflection time, having that bonding time with their parent. It doesn't have to be 25 minutes. It doesn't have to eat into big chunks of time. It's just that repetition, consistency, predictability that forms that secure attachment. That confidence is not built in a day. It is built in the micro times and micro moments and through these micro activities and micro habits. That's what builds the big wall. All right. It's not like you just can't dump a wall of confidence up there. It really is built through time. And it's so simple, it's so doable, and also it's those little micro habits that set them up so much in life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you bring out the fact that it's not going to happen overnight. It's a small every day. It's a consistency that makes the change and the difference. And I also picked up on something there where, you're saying not 25 minutes or more. So I'm already liking this because clearly a lot of the times you are juggling. A mum is juggling so
Mhm.
much that trying to have time to invest for 30 minutes or an hour is difficult for the mum. So
Mhm.
to know that you can achieve that change and then you can achieve that skill of confidence in just investing small amounts of time but sticking to it is quite inspiring and motivational.
And doable.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure hopefully it will inspire a lot of the mums listening.
Yeah.
Um, we show our children by example how to be and how to engage with the world around us. And we've talked about how our own experiences may taper how we come across to the child and how we need to do our work on ourselves a little bit first. Um, would you have any day-to-day things that you actually do to keep yourself confident and regulated so that you are able to be a bit more of a stronger example for your child?
Absolutely. Going through the journey of learning to love myself as an adult, that again, it's not a destination. You don't get there and like, okay, cool, love myself now. We'll tick that off and carry on with life. It is something that you constantly need to water. It's a plant that you constantly need to water. And if you want to thrive in life, you always need to give yourself that time to fill up your own cup and to sit there and give yourself that grace. So some of the rituals I do, I just still journal most days and definitely do a lot of gratitude practice. One practice that I do that I absolutely love is every week I sit down and do a weekly wins list. So being a business owner and obviously being a single parent and juggling so many things, I can be so hard on myself and just think that I've
Mm.
had a really bad week. And but again, our brains are so wired to like confirmation the negative. And when I sit down and I do this
Mm.
weekly wins, I look at it, I'm like, oh, your week wasn't so bad. And so just again, you need to give yourself time, and it doesn't have to be a lot of time. That literally takes me 5 to 10 minutes. That ritual every week. I don't even do it every day. I do it every week, and that is just imperative to me to check in with myself. And of course, I still do a lot of work. I work with a doctor at the moment to help me with nervous system regulation, and I'm about to start a course of acupuncture as well. So really coming back and having my nervous system in check is really important for me
Mm.
because I have lived a lot of my life in a fight or flight nervous system state. So I've always got to go back and make sure that I don't go to my default and go into my reprogrammed state, which is again it never ends. This work never ends, and that's the beauty of it and the magic of it.
I love that concept so much. It is something that I employ as well, and I recommend to the mums I counsel. We often go off these to-do lists. We have to do, and we're constantly chasing and we're never winning because there's always something new to do at the end of the day. There's a next day's lot. And it's almost like being in a constant lag. And so then to just sit down and shift that focus onto what you have actually achieved is mind blowing. And I think it just really grounds us in reality and takes us out of that rat race and does calm that nervous system because it assures us that we are not failing. And I think a lot of us are just worried that that's what we're doing. I'd love to be able to have a wall in my office where every time I accomplish something, I'll write it. And then
Mm,
at the end of the year, there's this whole wall covered of achievements that would normally go down the drain. No one would notice. So it's a beautiful practice. And then you're right. It doesn't take long, but it is such a beneficial practice to
mm.
have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for single mums or mums managing on their own, resources and time may be very limited, and you know this too, but the emotional stakes are always high. What would you say to a single mum who worries she's not enough or afraid that her child is missing out on an emotional support?
I would say mum guilt is such a real thing. And if you have mum guilt, it means you're a good parent. That's the way I would really describe it, you know. But bad parents don't sit there and feel guilty about their parenting, or conscious or aware parents. So even if you do feel guilty or you feel like you're not good enough, like that is you are your child's biggest and best love. No matter what, you are enough for them. And
Mm.
it's not about being perfect. It's not perfection, it's connection. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, hours of time of connection. It just needs to be consistent, small connection episodes or connection, sessions together, 5 minutes a day. That's honestly all it is. So securely attached children have parents that are safe, predictable, and consistent. They're not perfect. So don't be so hard on
Mm.
yourself. If you are doing that for your kids, they're gonna be happy. They're gonna be appreciative when they grow up. They really are. So it's never about not being enough because you are enough. You are your child's everything. They need you. And it is really that simple.
So what is your vision for the next phase of diary dolls? It's not going to be a teenage doll, although maybe. I'm just thinking of my daughter in mind. But without focusing purely on business growth, how do you want, children and their mums to feel and act differently in 3 to 5 years' time?
So I think about this a lot and it really helps me on my tough days in this business. And it really goes back to my why. Like, what is the impact and what do I want to create through this business? And it is essentially, I want to have an impact, positive impact on the mental health of the youth in the next generation. I want to have
Yeah.
those figures and those statistics reduced because they have tools and they have toys that when they grew up taught them how to love themselves, taught them how to be confident. I I want to create toys that children will remember from their childhood for the rest of their life. When they grow up being like, oh, I remember that diary doll. You know how we've all got that toy that we remember from our childhood? I want children for their
Mm.
diary doll to be that toy. And that is the vision that I have for this. I really want to normalize self-love at home, and I want parents to experience the joy of connecting with their kids and bonding with them. So they're not just toys. They really do represent that lifelong message that children will carry for the rest of their life. So, the gift today that they will remember forever. And that is essentially the the mission of what Diary Dolls is. So, from a practicality point of view, I will be designing more dolls and more characters, which is really exciting. And I am working on a unisex range at the moment as well. So, to really expand the reach and the resilience buddies that I am creating within this business.
Can you give us a glimpse as to potentially what characters are coming out?
If you can see one
Or
of
is that all hush hush?
no, the one doll that I am releasing soon is my gratitude doll. She's in the background there. She's next to Alice. I won't tell you what her name is. So she will be coming early next year. I want to say, let's say March. Let's say March in 2026. I expect her to be finalized and in Australia and ready to purchase. So that's me being quite conservative. And I am also working on some more toddler toys as well, toddler characters that are more simplistic in their nature of teaching children how amazing they are. So they'll be next as well. In terms of the dolls, I've got the gratitude doll and I've got another two that are being designed. And then I'm also working with the manufacturer and the graphic designer on doing the unisex range too. So I think that's all I can really tell you. But by mid next year, I'm expecting there to be at least 5 dolls in the doll range and 3 in the unisex range.
How exciting. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I can't wait. I'm actually, since I've met you and I've looked, the first thing when I saw this website, I just saw these dolls and I went, oh my God, I want to get one for my daughter. So it's so exciting that there is more coming out as well. And I'll keep watching so I can probably just get a one now and then maybe one for her birthday down the track. But just quickly wanted to come back to something that you said, and it's just playing in the back of my mind, this concept of a world where children from a very young age are learned to love themselves, be grateful for what they have confidence and good self-esteem. That is a world that is just blowing my socks off. Like I can't even imagine it, but it's like a utopia, isn't it? Sounds
Yeah.
brilliant.
It is and it's possible. If it's possible for children to have self-esteem issues, it's possible for them to have strong self-worth. So I'm like, let's go into that possibility because it's definitely possible.
I'm so glad that there are people like yourselves who are driving that forward and that we have this potentially to look forward to. And yes, it's a two sides. Coin's got two sides. If there's one possibility, there's always the other. And
Mhm.
why do we have to keep focusing on this one that's current? Let's start building tools and pathways towards that other side. Absolutely. And we are slowly getting to the end of our interview. So I'll ask a final question that we ask all our guests. Stella, if a mum's listening on the school run right now, feeling like she's barely holding it together, what words of hope would you offer her in 1 minute?
I've only got a minute. I would. What I
All right,
would
it can be a bit
say
longer, but
is if you are
in this
feeling
moment.
that in this moment, I'd say drop the kids off, pull over and cry. Let yourself
Oh, bless.
cry and yell and be overwhelmed in the car. Like, just express how you're feeling. You are tired, you're exhausted, acknowledge yourself, and it is okay. Like, you don't have to bottle it up anymore. Give yourself a minute to just feel all your feelings, as yucky and as like guilty as you feel for feeling them. You're a human being, and it is hard, especially with single parents. We don't have that partner around that says, oh, you're doing a good job, or thank you for doing that, or I appreciate you doing that. You need to do that yourself. And I will say and remind you that you are doing an amazing job. Do your weekly wins and just allow yourself to feel your feelings. Sometimes just acknowledging, like, this is really hard, can help you just to feel it and be like, all right, let's go. So give yourself that grace and that compassion because you deserve it.
Beautiful. I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. And finally, that tiny tool I promised. Can you share one micro practice a mum and her child can begin tonight? Ideally under 5 minutes that will build that confidence and self-esteem in her child.
I actually have created something just for
Okay.
this, and it
Wow.
is a daily practices board that I've created on the
Nice.
website. And
Uh-huh.
there's 7 daily practices in there. And this board's got a little smiley
Yep.
face so that you can click it off every night.
Oh,
I
that
do
is
this
so
with
cute.
I do this with my son when he comes home from school. It is just we have the best time, and again, it's only 5 minutes. So, telling someone that you love them, normalizing, "I love you." Like, I tell my son every day that I love him because I want
Yep.
him to never, ever, ever have a doubt that I love him.
Mm.
Giving someone a hug, telling someone that you're grateful for, having 3 slow, long breaths, doing some writing, and I do have some playtime with your diary doll, but you can have this like any doll, give your favorite toy a hug, do 3 affirmations. Like this has been a game changer in my house, I will say that. I developed this and it's just been again, it's so easy, and you're not doing this. You can give this to your kids, and they're like, "Oh, I want this," you know?
Bless.
I
I
I
love
wanna
it.
tick that off.
It's great because it takes the guesswork out. If you're
Mhm.
like, if you're that mum that has just bowled her eyes at the side of the road and went, right, felt your emotions and you just picked yourself up together. And then, so you're picking up the children and you still have to do something that uplifting for them. It's like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
So to have something, I used to leave Post-it notes for myself, but that is so much better. I love it.
Yeah, it sits on the side of their bed, so, it's so easy, and again, you're not having "Oh god, what question do I ask you today?" It's just there. Again, little habits, little micro habits, it makes it fun, so engaging, easy. It's a couple of minutes of time, honestly. It's been pretty cool.
That is amazing. I love it. And again, it beats my Post-it notes. My Post-it notes work till my daughter's learned to read, and she's like, What is that? Where have we got that on the wall?" Never mind. That's just, me learning how to parent.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Oh, Lordy. Well, thank you so very much for your time with us today. I really appreciate all your wisdom, and we will obviously include all the links in the show notes to your beautiful dolls and your website and your socials so that mums that have been listening can reach out to you and see this work and see what these dolls are all about and see about implementing it into their lives and help their children flourish. I look forward to hopefully speaking to you in the future and bringing on board these different dolls that come out.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Elle, for having me. I appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks. Well, wow, Stella, thank you so much for sharing such heartfelt wisdom and for reminding us that confidence isn't something we're born with. It is something that we can actually build, one small moment at a time. Mums, if you loved this conversation, you'll also enjoy our episode with Sarah Florenz, hopefully appearing right about now, The Truth About Perfect Parenting, Simple Ways to Calm Anxious Kids. It's a beautiful follow-on about easing pressure and reconnecting and finding calm in the chaos. So until next time, keep believing in your own strength, and remember, those little moments of connection are exactly what shapes the most confident kids.